Hi. So today I have a really, really special episode. I have brought a email subscriber for my list onto the podcast for a coaching session. I offered it to the whole list to say, look, if anybody wants some coaching, we can totally do it. And so everybody can hear what is coaching like? I like how does it help and how do I actually do it? So Vicky joined a Zoom session, and I've had to edit it a bit because she was on her phone. She was actually at work, and throughout the session, she goes out, like starts the car, and goes home because that's how she could best fit it in her day. And it just goes to show how easy it is to get coach. You can literally do it on the go. Like I joke about it, say I could be like your pocket coach on the go, right? And that's how it is. It doesn't have to be super formal. You don't have to like have specific surrounding as being super calm place. You can still get coached and you can still get something out of it. So have a listen in. Vicky wants to remain anonymous, so we don't have a video. We have the recording, and but that should be plenty for you. And excuse the I think the sound is not too bad. When she gets in the car, it's a bit of a difference, but you should still be able to hear it clearly. So enjoy this session where Vicky gets coached. It is very exciting, and I think she got a lot out of it. And it was really cool. It was a nice session. Enjoy. Then we can always say if you want to leave something out, if you're not happy, with me publishing any of it. So whatever you want me to do, I'm absolutely fine with that. Okay, so you can feel safe that I'm not gonna publish anything you don't want me to publish. And then I was wondering how I can help you best. If you want me to, if you have something very specific you want me coaching on, like some burnout specifically, or whether you want help with like an overall life situation, set that up. How can I best help you?
I would say it's kind of half and half.
Okay. So because we have about an hour, we can go over if you can, or we can take less depending on how your work is. But I think, especially being at work as well, it might be best if we then focus on one thing and then coach on that. And then what you learn from that, you can also apply to whatever other areas you have issues with. Should we do that?
Okay, then yeah.
Yeah. So tell me what's going on with you in general, and then we can always zoom in to if there's one specific situation.
I think at the moment it's just crazy busy with everything. And I guess it's just general life managing everything.
Yeah, everything that is a wide concept, isn't it? Do you want to, should we focus on work maybe? Would that be helpful? We just focus on one thing?
It's more day-to-day life than work. Work I'm okay with.
Okay. Yeah.
It's more everything around that, I guess, fitting in, sort of trying to be social, trying to get the house clean, trying to do sort of just normal things.
Okay. So is it time management? Is it that you struggle, you know what you want to do, but you just struggle to have time with it?
And also like motivation and just the oomph to get up and do things. Even if I want to do them, it's just actually getting it done. I know I can want to clean the house, then sit and chill or whatever, but I always maybe do it the wrong way around and sit and chill and then forget about the cleaning or what I've got to do to manage more normal things of everything that you need done in the house. And does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense. Yeah. So do you have like, for example, I have like cleaning, I have like a general kind of like it's for either Friday or Saturday. Do you have like a day where you normally clean? Or is it completely random?
Random.
Right. Okay. And but when you work, like, have you got like a work table where you always work the same hours every week, or is that all over the place?
It is pretty much similar. So I do 4 10-hour days and then one Saturday every 4 weeks and one Sunday every 4 weeks.
Oh,
They can vary, the Saturday and the Sundays.
so maybe is that why you don't, for example, do it at the weekends because you don't know when you're gonna work? Okay. And so far, when you have cleaned the house in the past, how have you gotten yourself to do it? How long has it been between the last time, or was it like, oh my God, now I need to do it because this is just embarrassing, or was it, or do it weekly, or
More or less weekly or every other week.
right?
But it's just little bits here and there. It's not a full job. shall I say.
Okay.
It's
And
more like gradual little bits.
and would you like it to be a full job?
Yeah,
You'd rather have that than doing bits and bobs here,
I'd rather have like that bit's done ticked off than
like the
another
house.
bit done ticked off.
If you had like a list, it would be like a house cleaning and then sort out whatever paperwork another day and then cook it,
Yeah,
whatever. Have it like that. So the house cleaning is just like one item.
yeah,
Okay, that's good to know that you at least know, like, you know what you want. No, because sometimes some people would be okay maybe with just like, oh, whenever the bathroom is too dirty, I'll just do that, and I'll wipe the kitchen once in a while. You know, just kind of like do it random. But it's good to know that you know what you want. So that's the first step, right? And is there any day that would kind of be logic to do it? You could say, I would like to do it Monday afternoons or something.
maybe kind of like maybe Mondays because that's more the frequent day that I get off.
And normally when you have gone to clean right now, up to now, like, when you have gone to do it, what is it that's coming up? Like, is it just that you're not actually set yourself up to do it, or is it like, oh, I should really do it, and then you do something else?
A little bit of a mixture because yeah, I can go and do it and I set myself up to do it, but then I can get sidetracked by like what I'm cleaning or other little things just around. And like things I find are maybe a little bit more interesting. And then I just get sidetracked through doing that, then having a little bit of a sort, and then never finishing the actual original job.
How long do you think it would take you if you did it all in one go? An hour, 2 hours?
Maybe
2 hours. Okay. I think the first step is probably actually planning ahead to do it, because our primitive brains will always like try to find something else to do. It's a bit like, for example, weight loss. No, we know it would be good to go to the gym, but if you don't plan for it and you just kind of wait for the inspiration, then you're never gonna go, right? Yeah. So the normally for things that we tend to procrastinate on, or that we just don't feel that we like the end result, we don't really like doing them, because like it's a bit like cooking, isn't it? You want the meal at the end,
oh sorry,
but
bear with me.
yeah.
Yes, in the top of the fridge. Because it's got to stay in the fridge. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I love it. It's like live coaching here. On the coaching on the go. I could be like a pocket coach. I like it. So are you okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the first step you want to take is to actually plan it. Literally have it in your calendar to clean, because otherwise it's going to be this vague thing that I'll do one day, but when the time like there's no incentive to actually do it, because your primitive brain is always going to override. You go, oh, let's do this instead. Or like you say, once you kind of start, you maybe, I don't know, I tend to like when I start, for example, tidying up a drawer, I find like old letters or Christmas cards, and then I start reading them, for example. No? Yeah, stuff like that. So if you haven't actually prepared yourself ahead of time and planned it, it's going to be very, very hard to just suddenly find the inspiration and think, oh, maybe I should do it now. Have you ever tried to like plan it, said to yourself, okay, this day I'm going to do it?
Yeah, I would say I have done.
Okay. And did that make any difference, or was it the same?
I'd say it was kind of the same, in all honesty.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then did you actually set like an hour, for example, what did you say, like at Monday at 5 when I get home or what or something? Did you plan it like that, or was it just like the day in general?
Maybe not that specific.
So when we coach in time management, we always recommend to literally put in your calendar. So for example, if you know it's going to take about 2 hours, give yourself 2 hours, for example, between 10 and 12. And then put a reminder on your phone. So you get reminded like, this is what's going to happen now. And then what happens next is then you have to deal with your primitive brain going, oh, but no, there's something else we could do instead. Look at this over here we should do, or, answer this email, or whatever it is you normally go. So the first step is, I think for you, is to plan it in, but like very specific.
Okay.
Yeah. So like calendar it. And you could, if you want it done weekly, with, as you said, I would try and calendar in like every Monday at the same time if you can.
Right, yeah.
Because then it's kind of like, okay, this is because it's about creating new habits as well, right? And I think if you're doing it very random, different times, different days, the art of creating the habit is going to be very difficult. It's a bit like
Okay.
signing up for the gym and then saying, oh, I'll go some days in the week, but you don't really know what class you're going to. You haven't really looked at what times they are. And then say you finish work at, say, 6 p.m. and you're like, oh, let me look at what's in the gym today. Like, it's going to be very difficult to get yourself together to do it, right? Because it's not, you have to like now make the decision every day. So if you make the decision ahead of time and say, so for example, Monday, so I don't know what time would it be convenient for you?
That's where I think it's a little bit harder because it depends on if my other half's on nights or days. So it also depends on his shifts because I can't get up and do stuff when he's on nights because then he's just got in of the morning and will be sleeping from like 6 till 1.
That makes sense. So you can't plan for like forever, but you could maybe plan from one week to another. Could you like sit down on Mondays, for example, and say, oh, next week when would it be cool to clean?
Yeah, maybe weekly. I could do that
That would be a
because
good
then
thing.
it's in there.
Yes. And you could actually, so you could say like, so then you would have to plan as well when to plan it, right? So you could say, for example, let's say, for example, today is, what's the day? Today's Thursday, right? So you could say, okay, this Monday, I know what time I have, right? So for example, let's say your partner is working and he wakes up at 1. So let's say, for example, between 2 and 4, you want to clean, no? And then when you finish cleaning, then you sit down for like 10 minutes and just plan next week.
All right.
So it's all in one go.
So then it's, yeah, pre-done and ready for going forward.
Yes, because that way you spare yourself from decision fatigue. I think, especially in our profession where we have to make so many decisions day in, day out, all these things like choosing what to eat, where to eat, where to shop, when to clean, like there's so many extra decisions that if we can just make them ahead of time, then we don't have to deal with it in the moment. And it's just easier to go into like this, just a habit. Oh, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also stick to the time, right? Because like, for example, again, like me, when I clean, if I decide to do the whole house, like it's so easy for me to then get super lost in like, oh yes, kitchen, oh yes, the spices. Let me look at the dates on the spices, and then like, and then you risk not finishing it because when the 2 hours have come, you're still in that drawer, no? So like really say, no, it is 2 hours. I have to finish in 2 hours, and that will help you not getting sidetracked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, planning is not my strong point.
So that's good to know, because then starting with a small thing, like literally just plan the cleaning and don't plan anything else. I would start with one thing, because when we do this work, when we start to get new habits and, I want to kind of like get my life a bit under control and not feel so frustrated all the time, because I think, like you said, you want to clean and then you want to sit down and chill, but you can't fully chill ever because you haven't cleaned and you have this voice in the back of your head like, oh, I should really clean. And then when you keep pushing it, you never rest properly, right?
Yeah.
So when you want to form the new habit of doing it, I think it can be very good just to do one thing. And then when you feel that satisfaction and you've done it a few weeks, then you can maybe attack another thing if you want it. I don't know what other things maybe you want to plan. But if you start with just like one thing, and then when it comes up, so let's say you plan today that on Monday you're going to clean. You plan, for example, between 2 and 4, and then you just spend 5 minutes planning the next Monday, Then notice what might come up at 2 o'clock. Because for sure your primitive brain is going to throw something at you, because you're not going to, we don't really want to clean unless like some people might like it, but most of us, it's a bit tedious, right?
A chore.
And one thing you really want to bear in mind then is like the why. Why do I want to clean? You want a strong why behind it.
You want to live in a nice environment.
Okay, yeah, that could be one.
Like, I don't want it to be dirty or smelly or anything. And the longer you leave it, the more likely it's going to get like that.
Okay, yeah, that's a strong motivation. The longer you leave it, like the worse it's going to get.
So I guess that's what I don't want to do.
You don't want to leave it.
Yeah.
And when you have a clean house, like the times you have cleaned, well, how has that felt afterwards? How was that feeling been when you've done it?
Yeah, you feel good after. It's like yes, I've accomplished that.
You've accomplished it.
So yeah, it is a good after. It's the same, I guess, with eating well, prepping meals and stuff. When you do it, you feel good doing it, but it's actually doing it and getting it done, which is the like, ugh, do I have to?
Yeah. The thing is, our brain will always try to stop us from doing anything that's boring or hard or the brain can't see the point in that moment. So that's why it's really important to have the strong vibe, like remembering, no, we want to do this because afterwards we're going to feel accomplished. We're going to look around and it's going to be really nice. I can like really rest. I can really, sit down. And with the food, for example, because when we do this, the long-term result is, we're going to eat healthy and it's going to be super nice to come home and know already what we're going to eat and maybe have the food prepped. And it's kind of like trying to remember the long-term goal, right? Because our primitive brains is always like here and now. And that's, for example, why it's so difficult to lose weight for people, no? Because like you sit down, there's the burger, the chocolate, the cookie, whatever we everybody is attached to. And it's really difficult to override. The primitive brain is like, no, but this is nice now. Why don't we eat this now? We're gonna feel amazing now. Because in that moment, if for example you're a bit hungry and tired, it just overrides the frontal lobe, which is like, no, but we want to be healthy and we want to fit in our clothes and we want, we want to be strong. And it's the same with the cleaning. So of course, the primitive brain in that moment is like, what is it you do? Like when you get sidetracked, what is it you do instead of cleaning actually?
Watch TV, look through random stuff in drawers, scroll on my phone, a whole array of things.
Okay.
Apart from the job I intended to do.
Yeah. And notice how all those are things that like give like really short dopamine hits. So watching TV, scrolling on social media, going through drawers as well is kind of like, oh, what's this? You get these little surprises and you don't really make any decisions or do anything with it. And that is the primitive brain kind of taking over and saying, no, we don't want to do this hard thing now because primitive brain is not interested in the long-term result. So I think going forward, when you plan, it's also, this was a thing I had to do. I had to have so much compassion for myself because I used to beat myself up so much. I would plan something and then I wouldn't do it. And then I would beat myself up. I'm useless. I can't plan anything until I had to learn that no, actually, when you don't do it, okay, so sit down and then look at what happened instead and why did I do this other thing instead? And when you then get a kind of a picture and an idea of like when was it and what was it that made me kind of go astray and not do the thing I wanted to do, then you can catch it in the moment. So when you go ahead and do this, when you start planning it every Monday, maybe the first day will be, you'll do it great because it's going to be so recent. We've talked about it and you're like, yes, you're motivated and this is going to work now. And then maybe the second or the third Monday, you're going to go, oh no, but my partner just woke up and there's this Christmas market. Maybe we should go to this instead. Like then something happens and then you feel super bad because now you didn't do what you set out to do. And then it's really important to just sit down 5 minutes. And I recommend journaling. I'm always like writing about journaling because that's when you can say, okay, so I was going to clean and then, and then you write down what happened, what you thought. And then going forward, then you can catch it next time. So you kind of learn to get into the habit of doing the same thing over and over and catch when your primitive brain takes over and says, no, let's do this thing instead.
Okay, yeah. So it makes you realise it a little bit more.
Because it's a learning process, all of it.
Okay, yeah.
Because forming habits, it's not, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to do this thing now forever. And then suddenly everything just changes and now you're perfect. That's not going to happen. I don't think it's not happened to me. It's not happened to any people I've ever coached or have heard coached. It's always like you set out, you're motivated. And sometimes even and I've had this as well, when we plan something ahead of time, say you come to Monday and you have it in your alarm, right? And your calendar goes like, ding, cleaning house. And then sometimes I can feel like we have some parent or someone telling us what to do and we get annoyed at the notification. I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. And it's like this toddler moment, which makes absolutely no sense because I was the one that planned it. So why am I annoyed at the notification I set up? But that again is just the primitive brain going like, no, we don't want to do this because right now it's tedious and it's boring and we can't see the point. So it's basically like a bit like a toddler in that moment.
Right, yeah. Because you just want to just put it on snooze.
Yes, exactly. But that is normal as well. And I think a lot of us, we beat ourselves up then when we don't clean and we don't do this and we tell ourselves, oh, I'm just such a procrastinator. I'm just so messy. And look at this other person that always get the house clean and they're just perfect. I don't know. You go to some houses, don't you? And it just looks like it's out of a magazine.
Yeah.
and then we compare ourselves, and it's just like we just have different things we're interested in and different things that we prioritize and different things we learned at different times. So that's something I want to say like ahead of time, like that don't beat yourself up when you plan it and it doesn't, maybe it seems like it doesn't work, but that's just because you have to learn to do it, to process it, and to plan it ahead of time.
Right, yeah.
What's coming up for you when I say that?
Myself up for it.
Does it seem doable, do you think? Or does it, so when I say like it's a process you want to learn, does it seem like, oh, it's going to be really hard to learn? Or is it more like, oh, it's cool, I don't have to do it perfect?
I mean, I do want to get things right, but I know I won't at the beginning. So it's kind of a torn feeling.
You will get stuff done for sure. But it's just the inner battle you're going to have around it in the beginning. Is there anything else that you have had where you wanted to either learn it or get good at it, and it took you a while to get around to learning it?
Probably quite a lot of things.
Like driving a car, for example.
No, definitely. I think there's a lot of things that have been, well, everything is a learning curve, even to qualify to do all of that.
Yes, exactly. And
So you've got to practice at it all.
and it's not even that hard. It's not like you have to like sit down and journal for hours now. Why didn't I clean Monday? But it's just the catching it. Catching it and then catching the why, what was the feeling I had in that moment that made me not take the action of cleaning.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I think
yeah.
I guess it's maybe a little bit of like self-sabotage.
I wouldn't call it as much self-sabotage as literally just not noticing that our primitive brain takes over. And we just go into automatic behavior because there's so many things we don't notice. Now, for example, when we get annoyed at our partner and we sit there thinking the same thoughts always, like, why doesn't he put the toilet seat down? Or why didn't he pick up the shopping? Or we don't notice we're doing it and we're creating this whole annoying feeling. And if you confronted yourself with it, you're like, why am I so annoyed that he's an amazing person? This is just an example, right? We don't notice all these thoughts that just come to us and we just go into just on automatic behavior. And with the cleaning, it's the same. We don't notice that we go into the scrolling or the TV. We just kind of accept that this is how I feel now and I'm just going to do it instead of stopping and say, wait, why am I thinking this? Why am I doing this? Instead of doing the thing I wanted to do.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not a
That does make more
self-sabotage as
sense.
such. And it's just learning to realize that our brain just goes into like short-term mode, which is I want to have fun right now. I don't want to wait 2 hours and do all these things and then relax, when actually the feeling, maybe you have scrolling the phone in the moment, is not that great. It's just like, meh, no, you don't feel super excited about it. But compared to the long-term feeling of cleaning, like that's so much better. And also it's getting back to and remembering, like it's actually really worth doing this thing, although it's a bit boring now, but then I have the whole week where I can be happy because I cleaned.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't think of in the moment the long term part
No,
of
we
it.
never do.
And I guess it is the same. I would say the cleaning and eating well is my
And it's
like
exactly the same. Yes.
that balance of doing those things consistently.
And it's also, I think, because are you a vet or
Nurse.
you're a nurse? Okay. But in this profession in general, I think we tend to be pretty perfectionist. So let's say if you make a meal plan and then you don't follow it 1 week or you don't follow it for like half the week or whatever, then our brain
That's it
goes to like,
scrapped.
what's that?
That's it scrapped for me.
That's it. Then you're like, oh, it's not working. I don't know how to do this. Instead of sitting down and saying, okay, like, wait, I didn't do it. Why was that? Like, oh, we just think there's something wrong with us and we don't know how to do it and it's too hard. Instead of actually stopping for a second and saying, like, what was it exactly that made me not do it? With curiosity, without beating ourselves up, which is what we always do in these cases, right? But actually just learning how our brains work. What is it that triggers us? What is it that stops us from doing the things we really want to do long term? And it's the same struggle for every human. I think everybody I coach has the same things, like saving up money. It's the same principle, right? We have like, oh, I'm going to save this money. But if you have it on your card and then you see something random and you're a bit tired and a bit hungry and a bit, maybe whatever, fed up, you're like, oh, I'm going to buy it now. I have the money. And then you completely forget that you were going to save it. No, but, and then you get annoyed yourself and then you don't save any money that month because now it's just all, scrapped. Right.
Yeah.
And it's just recognizing that. And it's not that there's anything wrong with us. It's just like in that moment, the primitive brain took over because we were a bit tired and just didn't think about it, and then catching it. But normally we catch it afterwards. And then when you caught it afterwards a couple of times, then you can recognize it in the moment.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the work. It's, I think, for you, like, first of all, schedule it and be very specific that day, that time. And like you say, you can't do it just pocket in the calendar for the whole year. You want to do it every week. So you can adjust to your partner's work or whatever, your own work, whatever you have. And then when the moment comes, your primitive brain will try and talk you out of it for different motives. And then recognize it and say, it's not that there's something wrong with me. It's not because I'm super lazy. It's not that I'm self-sabotaging. It's literally just like my primitive brain cannot see the point right now. I just need to remember to overrule it. And you do that by catching the thoughts that are trying to deviate you. Does that sound doable?
That's a different way to look at it. Sorry, bear with me. I've just got to get out to my car and start the car up. And I'll be right back with you. I'll just put it on mute. Sorry for a second.
That's fine. No worries.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
You okay? No worries. So try and now that we've talked about it, like, try and say like what, just like loosely, how would you plan it just for like next week? Just so you kind of have it in your brain now what you want to do.
Oh no. Is it now going to lose it? Damn it.
What's that?
Oh no. I thought it lost it.
Oh, I got you still.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I can stick it on.
What's that?
And okay, cool. You can still hear me. No, it just switches over to my car.
Okay, I can hear you. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, I guess I just suck a little bit at keeping my, I guess, plans and what I know I want to do to actually stick to doing it.
Yes.
I guess I don't know how to actually change that or make it better, because I feel like I'm stuck at just doing, I guess, what people find easy and just normal.
How do you know that other people find it easy and normal?
I guess I perceive people to do it easy and normal.
Yeah.
Is maybe better a way of.
Yeah, you probably idealize like other people, like what they do, because everybody got the same struggles that you have. Like the coaching on time management and procrastination is insane. There's so much because we're just not made for it, for the way that it is. Yeah. And so let's say you plan something for yourself and then you don't do it. Is that it? Yeah. When you plan something with somebody else is involved, do you also then not turn up or not do it, or?
No, I would like not turn up for, say, if I said I'd meet someone and we'd go for lunch or anything. No, I'd meet them.
Right.
I wouldn't back out of that, which is probably makes it worse because I'll do something for someone else, but for what I know I want to do, it's kind of a different story.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that, and it's so cool that you notice it yourself, because that's about learning to prioritize ourselves.
Maybe I don't do that much, I guess.
Probably not, because you're in the veterinary profession and we tend to prioritize everybody else first. And also being a woman, we tend to do it as well. It's kind of in our genes. Got it all against us. So
yeah, I guess so.
It's something I really, really want to normalize it, Vicky, because I don't want you to feel like you're like the only one that doesn't know it. Everybody else have got it under control, because everybody in this profession is exactly the same. Well, a ton of women, basically. In the coaching school I went to, we listen in on coaching calls, you learn from other coaches. Exactly what you brought was at least 50%. There was relationship, money, weight, and then this time management and getting things done. Like my coach has literally got a whole program that is called Getting Things Done. So first, I want to normalize it so you don't feel like specifically useless or like I can't get my ass in gear or whatever, like, because it's just like, it's so normal for all of us. And
because it is just, I guess I get frustrated with myself after, say, a day of I want to do this and I want to do that. And then I maybe sit in front of the TV and watch TV and like binge watch a series. And then that night I'm just so annoyed at myself that I've not done what I wanted to do and like just wasted the time that I've got.
I think there's two aspects of that. So first of all, I would really catch myself, when you get annoyed at yourself, because when we have that feeling of annoying ourselves, it's actually the contrary effect of what you want, right? Because if underneath it, there's this kind of like attitude of not respecting ourselves and not really doing for ourselves what we want, but we prioritize others, you don't want to then beat yourself up any further, because then you just lose even more respect for yourself, right? That's it. Yeah, so that's something I would definitely look at, and that could be a bit. That takes a bit of work, right? Because now we're talking like self-worth and self-respect, and that is definitely always a work in progress.
Yeah.
And the second thing is like it can actually be easy to catch the thought error that makes you watch the series, because sometimes it can be something like, oh, I said I was going to clean and meal prep, but I've had a really hard week. I really deserve to just sit and, sit down, for example. No, I don't know exactly. Can you come up? Do you know what it is you think when you sit down and watch series instead?
I guess it is thinking, well, if I don't sit down now, I know I'm not going to get another chance. So just enjoy it while I can.
Right. Exactly. And that's a thought error, because first of all, we don't enjoy it 100%, because while we're sitting there watching the series, we kind of like in the back of our mind, there's this like chatter of like, well, once this chapter finishes, then I'll get up and clean. I'll clean in a bit. And then, like you say, yes, exactly, right? So you don't enjoy it 100%. And at the end of it, on top of it, you beat yourself up.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's actually a thought error that I'm going to sit down and enjoy this, because we don't actually. And in the end, we then enjoy it even less, because now we're mad at ourselves.
Yeah, that is very true.
So that's one thing, like knowing it up front, what you would normally think. Knowing the thought error that's going to come up, it's going to be easier to catch it in the moment.
So just think, I know I'm not going to enjoy this as much as getting what I want done and then doing it.
Yes, exactly. That and the time limit. So don't go, oh, I'll clean the house today. No, say a specific time. So you almost have like a date, like 2 dates with yourself. You have the date of cleaning, and then you have the date of watching series or whatever else you want to do. So if you want to clean between 2 and 4, 4 o'clock, I cut it. That's it. Whatever got done, it gets done. And I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to get distracted and take longer. And then, because sometimes we do that, don't we? And then the cleaning is just like 5 hours, because now we also done a lot of stuff in between.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you give yourself a deadline, it's a bit like, when in the past, when you've had an essay or project, if they give you 2 months to do it, then you just spread it out and you kind of like don't really do a bit. But if they say, oh, you have to do it for this weekend, you get it done, right? You can do it within that time.
I definitely leave things right to the like very last minute that I possibly can.
Right.
I will, like, even assignments, even like everything. I think I've always done it. Coursework, prepping for exams is always down to like the last minute or the last night that I can.
And that's super common. If it works for you, you can apply that to your cleaning. So you can say, before 4 o'clock, the house has to be clean. And then there's like, you'll just get it done.
So if I just give myself a deadline time.
Yes.
And then probably at 3:30, I'll be like, right, I've got to now get it done.
And then if that could be a bit stressful, but you could also say between 2 and 4. Have a starting time at 2, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
And you can see what works for you. You could experiment, right? Because like you got the rest of your life to figure this out. It's not like it has to be like perfect next week.
I guess I just want to try to be a bit more on top of, one, the cleaning, 2, how I think about myself and my overview of me.
Yes.
And my eating habits, and not just grabbing some random food because I'm bored.
Yes. It does go hand in hand, because the more we learn to. So I, for example, used to be, before I got into coaching, I was like a last minute person. I was literally jamming so much in. Like, when you have to go somewhere at 2:15, I would like, oh, I can just quickly put a wash on, do this. And then I would always be rushing, always be late and stressed. And the simple work of learning not to do that and managing my time and prioritizing, delegating, like deleting what's not that important, because everything seems important sometimes, doesn't it? This needs to get done. That process has now given me that inner calm, and has actually had a huge effect on my self-worth, because I respect myself so much now that I don't make myself rush, if that makes sense. And the same with meal prep or cleaning and that, because it's not, we all different people, but most people, we do like a tidy house. It feels messy, you're sitting down and you're looking around and there's just mess, and you have to do this stuff, and not doing that to yourself, like the future Vicky. So if you do it on the Monday, then Vicky from like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on, appreciate what Vicky from Monday did. No, and doing that for yourself, that really, really helps on your perception by yourself as well. It kind of goes hand in hand. Does that make
So
sense?
I will journal and plan, because so this may seem like a silly question, but do you
No.
have like a journal or diary that you look at every morning then and
I
think,
don't,
right,
I
today
don't
I'm doing this, that, and at this time? Or is it just kind of at the beginning of the week and you set phone reminders? Or
So, yeah, no, there's a really good question, because then you're like, but how do I do it? So, I used to have a paper calendar, but then I found out as much. So, I use on my MacBook and my iPhone, I have the calendar there. So, the iCalendar, whatever it's called.
yeah,
And put everything I need to do in there, everything I want to do. I put it in that. And in the beginning, it was really hour by hour and for me to learn it. So the process a bit like, like when you learn to write initially, you have to like in a very specific way and between the lines and this and the other. And now you just like free write. But it's a bit like that in the beginning. You want to put everything in the calendar that needs to be done, so you can learn to overrule your primitive brain, and then set a reminder. So 5 minutes before, it's like, oh, now I have to clean. Oh, now I have to meal prep. Now I have to pay that bill. I used to put in the start of the week, do it for the rest of the week, or the Sundays mainly. I would sit down and then plan for the whole week.
yeah,
And now I don't really do it that much anymore, because first of all, I have learned to like get rid of so many things I don't want to do anymore. And now, because I'm not so stressed, I can have it in my head as well. So I can literally say to myself, I'm going to clean on Friday, and then I just do it. It's not drama anymore, but it took me at least 2 years of like planning and writing it down. And then I would sit on the Friday and I would sit on journal, look at my calendar and look at what did I get done and what didn't I get done. And then I would try and track back, like, why didn't I get it done?
okay, yeah,
And I don't know if you saw my email about and I think I did a podcast about it, the evaluation process. So in order not, otherwise it should be, you can find it in the podcast as well, but it's when you evaluate yourself, like say you just take like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it literally doesn't take longer, on the Friday, on the Saturday, whenever you want to do it at the end of the week, right? And you say, okay, so what really worked? And you could go, okay, it really worked setting a time, for example, or it really worked doing it early in the day, or whatever it was, like that went really well. I got this done. And then what didn't work? Well, I said I was gonna meal prep, but then I actually forgot to go shopping, so I didn't get it done. And then the third question you ask, what would I do differently? Oh, actually, I need to include the shopping in my planning, which I hadn't done. And you do it that way, right? So you don't end up just beating yourself up. You actually have like a plan, and you have a structure to how you're gonna go forward.
okay, yeah,
And then also take like baby steps. Really don't overwhelm yourself with like, because I did that. I would literally fill my calendar from like 8 in the morning to 8 at night. I'm gonna get all this done now because now I'm planning, and it was horrible.
yeah,
I forgot I also had to pee, shower. So don't overwhelm yourself. I would like, even if you want both the meal and the cleaning, I would just do the rest of the year, like December, just do the cleaning. Say that's the one thing I'm gonna do. Because when you can prove to yourself that you can do it, that just gives you that motivation to then do more stuff.
because then you get that you know what you're doing.
Yes. And you recover the confidence in yourself. You start getting more confidence in yourself that when I say I'm going to do something, even if nobody else is involved, nobody else is looking, then I do it.
Which I guess is also where then it builds up your kind of self-worth and
Yes.
you doing things for you, where I think that's maybe where I struggle and I'm not so good.
Yes.
like I guess I have just kind of let myself go a bit with everything for myself, I would say, in the
And
past couple
it's
of
easily
months.
done. It's very easily done.
Because now I need a kick in the right direction to get a little bit of things back to how I want, or an aim for what I want to get to.
And also remember not to rush it. I know Tony Robbins, he used to say, we really overestimate what we can do in a year, but underestimate what we can do in 10 years. I'm not saying it's going to take you 10 years to clean, but you could say to yourself, so, okay, so 2025, I kind of want to get this under control. So I'm just going to do one thing at a time. For example, if you want to go to the gym or you want to start doing yoga, you want to meal prep, just like literally maybe one thing every month, but very small. Don't overwhelm yourself, because otherwise it's like, oh, I'm going to train now, I'm going to be super strong. And then you go and do a ton of burpees or whatever and hurt your back. And then you don't go on it again for 6 months.
Yeah. I'm quite bad for doing that, I must admit.
We
I've done
all
that
do.
plenty of times before.
And it's learning that patience as well, because that is, but it's a bit like when you change direction of an airplane or something. I can't remember exactly what the numbers are, but it's like if it changes like 1 degree, then after 100 kilometers, it's like 6 kilometers off that route. So even if you just change a little bit, but if you keep doing it, even if it's just a little bit, it over time the change is dramatic.
Well, I've got a big diary I can make plans in, and then I can look back at what I wanted to do and what I got done.
Yes.
At least every week, and see how that changes maybe my mindset on doing it.
And like always, like with patience, don't overwhelm yourself. Have a lot of compassion for when you don't get stuff done, and always like with curiosity instead of judgment. Or like, I wonder why. Like, why is it always that I never get this specific thing done, instead of like, God damn it, I didn't do it again. It's a different perspective.
So it's a bit more understanding.
Yes. Give it a go and listen to I don't know what episode it is, but you can just look up my podcast, because I do talk about the 3-step evaluation process, and that will take you through like each one of the steps, so you don't end up beating up yourself up, but you learn. So every week, imagine if you did it every week, evaluated how much you could learn over a short time about yourself, your habits, why you think the things you do, why you do, what feeling is it that drives it.
I will definitely have a listen and try and put that into place.
And just keep experimenting as well.
I guess it's a different way to think about what to do instead of just doing everything.
Yes.
And even when I've made changes, I've maybe not evaluated anything that I've been doing or done. Even when it went well, like I was, years ago now, but I was very fit and very healthy. And I guess I don't know exactly how to get back to that, because I don't really know how I was doing it at the time.
Because you didn't evaluate it.
Yeah, maybe if I did that, I would know just how to slip back into those habits and that way of life, instead of struggling to find a way there.
That makes sense. And the good news are, if you knew how to do it before, even if you do it like on autopilot, it's going to be so much easier than if you'd never done it before.
Sorry?
So because you said like you had good habits in the past, right? And you were fit and you were healthy, it means that you have already done it before. You knew once how to do it, and your body, knew how to stay fit and healthy. Then it's going to be easier than if you'd never been fit and healthy. You know what I mean? And you've done it before, so you can do it again. It's probably just a different phase in your life. You have like other priorities, you're busier, because as we get older, there's just more stuff in our life, isn't there? So there's just more things to do. And that's how, so that we have
to keep on top of, definitely.
Yes, exactly. We have to like start to prioritize and delegate. Like when I was 22, I did not think about prioritizing or delegating or anything,
Yeah.
because it wasn't necessary back then.
I didn't.
Right.
And I guess now I've just brought a house as well. So I think maybe that's just kind of got in my head of how much needs to be done for that before, like, we couldn't even think about moving in.
Right.
So maybe I've just shut down a bit to everything else.
The overwhelm will do that. So if you have like a huge project that you need to do, let's say, for example, it's not just cleaning. Let's say you're moving house and there's like 5 bedrooms and kitchen with stuff that your grandma gave you and everything, and it is a lot. Like, there's no way this is going to get packed in 2 hours, right? Overwhelm will stop you. Overwhelm will, like, literally the brain will go, no, this is impossible. And then you just never make a start because it's just too much. Then it's super important to break it up. So like you can either do time-wise, so you can say, okay, 1 hour every day. So from 1 to 2, I'm just going to attack this room and pack or throw out whatever I need to do, whatever it is you want to do with your house, no? So you can do it time-wise, or you could do it cupboard-wise or drawer, like, so Thursday, I'm going to clean out this drawer, or Wednesday, I'm going to attack the bathroom and get everything out, whatever it is you want to do, and just break it up in little bits. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I need, manageable chunks.
Yes, and planning it ahead of time.
And actually doing it when I've written it down.
Exactly. And when you don't, then look at why. Because it could literally be because it was full moon, because I just got my period, or because I had a fight with my partner and I didn't feel like, or whatever it was, I didn't sleep, so you can find like what is the thing that keeps coming up that's stopping me as well, because it could be a common theme as well, for example. So evaluating with compassion, like instead of beating ourselves up because we didn't do it. And that's how you stay motivated and don't feel beat down and don't feel bad about it.
Because it could get to that, I guess, just where you feel rubbish if you don't do it.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to evaluate a specific way where you first always look and celebrate what went well, what you did well. So you start out with that, and then you look at, okay, so what didn't work so well? And then you give yourself a plan. What will I do different next week? Does that sound doable?
So that I need to start, maybe I need to start creating a plan as of tomorrow for the week.
Yeah, you could do that. So I'm gonna, does that feel like complete the coaching for you? Do you feel like you have a bit more clarity? And okay,
it's given definite ideas and things to think about and go forward and do that I haven't really done.
So what I can do, because you signed up for the via calendar, I have your email. So what I can do, because tomorrow I'll edit the podcast, I'll take out the little bits where you left the building and came back again. And then I will, because I will listen through, and then I'll take some bullet points, so you don't have to re-listen to it and try and find out. And I'll send you an email with kind of the main points we discussed, and I'll get the link to the podcast episode that might help you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, should we do that?
Yeah.
Cool. Are you happy for me to publish this as it is? Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, no, there's nothing that private or secret.
No, that's cool. And I think this is going to be helpful for so many people that are sitting there exactly like you, thinking that everybody else have got it so under control.
Some people just look so put together.
And I promise you they're not. It's hard work. Yeah. It's just, and then there are other things they don't take care of. It's like finding that balance as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not easy to get a balance of life and managing everything.
No, you have to work on it. But if you work on it a little bit every day, I'm 4 years in now, and for me, it's just a breeze now, most of it. All the drama I have mainly now is relationship stuff with my kids or my husband, where I'm like, why are they doing this? And then I find out it's actually just that time of month mainly where it happens to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the time management, sometimes I don't get stuff done. But I don't beat myself up over it anymore, because I'm like, maybe I start doing it, but then I catch myself doing it. That's the thing as well. You get really good at catching yourself doing this shit to yourself. You still there? Hello?
I don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah, I just lost you for a second.
Oh, sorry about that. I
don't know what happened. It's fine. But I think that's cool. I will do that tomorrow. I'll send you the email so you have the bullet points and a plan of what to do going forward. Yeah? Can you hear me?
Yeah, definitely. That sounds.
Yeah. Okay. And feel free to email me if you have maybe if you've done it for a couple of weeks or after Christmas something, and there's something that keeps coming up and you can't get it done, just email me and I can email you back with some advice or some questions to help you move forward.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely, Vicky. It was really nice speaking to you, and thank you for doing this.
And you take care. Thank you so much.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.